has been an awakening. Have you felt it? At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge. Dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Now you will experience the full power of the dark side.
Welcome, followers of the Dark Side and Light. I'm your host, John, the real JP3, and I'm joined as always by my good friend and fellow co-host, who is a master of the dark side, expert on the occult, and obtainer of rare antiquities and holocrons. Please welcome Dark Lord of the Sith, David.
What up, Johnny? How you doing, bud?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, relaxing, wearing my Solo Chewy retro-looking shirt.
Mine says, "May the Force be with you." Don't look at my fatness.
We're not knocking over equipment over here. The editor's gonna yell. But Johnny, this is gonna be episode 92, right? 92?
92.
92 of The Rule of Two, a Star Wars podcast. How you feeling today, bud? You ready to do this?
Feeling good. I mean, so I just had a thought. I do this. I go off on tangents. I noticed at the beginning of the episodes when you ask me how things are going. So I just had a thought right now. I want to grab the mic and talk like this, like I'm a singer. But I know that messes up the aurora.
The what?
The atmosphere.
What were you trying to say before the aurora?
I guess not aurora, but the.
Were you trying to say ambiance?
That word didn't even click in my mind, but it works in this situation, so we're gonna roll with it.
Okay, cool.
But I don't want to mess up the shield of the mic recording too
Gotcha,
close,
gotcha.
loudness. So anyway, I'm not gonna do that. But it's good day. I have something I want to say.
All right, buddy, go for it.
Hold on as I pull this up.
Okay, while you pull that out, let me give you an intro so you can kind of feel it maximize.
Go.
Grisk, Chiss, Rhodians, Twi'leks, lend John your ears as he makes this monumental announcement, which I have no idea what it is. Take it away, Johnny.
I have 9 hours and 59 minutes left in the first Thrawn book.
Dang,
that wasn't monumental.
Okay.
That wasn't monumental,
Yeah,
but it's pretty
not
good.
bad. Yeah,
it's
for
a
you.
pretty big deal for John to read books, and so I've been listening for a while. I get up, get ready in the morning. I have my headphones in on the way to work, on the way home from work. If I travel any time during the day at work, it's music just to clear my mind from the festivities of work. But I'm pretty excited, and I have to say that I'm taking to it much better than I did the last time.
That's a good thing, yeah.
And all I gotta say is, Thrawn is a beast. He is a beast. The way he thinks, the way he acts, the way he speaks, absolutely amazing. And then when you're sitting there and you listen to his plan unfold, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's come on. It's amazing to me. Great. And then the problem is that Mark Thompson does such a great job voicing Thrawn and what I see Thrawn as, that if the voice or the way that it sounds is any different, it's going to throw me off. In Rebels, I thought it was pretty good. It sounded very similar. So I'm good with that. But if it was different than that, we talked about this with the new Lion King movie. I forget the guy's name that played Scar. You were really upset about it.
Jeremy Irons.
He didn't voice the new Scar, and I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. I went and saw the new movie, and I was like,
"It's a big deal.
This isn't Scar." I want to hear Scar. I want to hear the voice. I want to hear it different. It was just very different.
And I don't know if this is real or not. You're more of the Disney person, and we're not a Disney podcast. we're not a no we're a Star Wars podcast, but we're gonna mention this because it's Jon Favreau. He did The Lion King. He's doing The Mandalorian. Huge Star Wars fan. Did you know that Scar was supposed to be gay? Like I've read so many articles that they're saying in the animated version, Scar was supposed to be gay. Like I don't get that.
This is blasphemous,
Like not that there's
and I
anything
don't
wrong with that.
appreciate it.
If
No,
Scar likes other male lions, like by all means, do your thing, buddy. But I never saw him as gay. Even when I saw it the other day, he comes off as not even flamboyant, but just he over exaggerates because again, he's playing on the he's emphasizing his lies. You know what I mean? And like, oh, this that, don't do it,
he,
Simba. Like to
he's
me, he's just
dramatic.
toying with him. Yeah, he's just being dramatic. He's toying with the kid.
He's very dramatic in his way that he handles things. And there was one part in the scene where he like falls down after the mouse gets away. And he's like, oh, Uncle Scar, if I become king, what does that make you? A monkey's uncle. And then he like falls and
Like to me, I don't see that as him being gay. If Scar is gay, oh, I'm okay with that. I don't care. But
yeah.
I just see him being as dramatic and accentuating the mood and just being again not flamboyant, but just over the top.
Yeah, I would say he's very dramatic, and I noticed that. But even in the cartoon, he was that way, and in this one, he was very dramatic. So the one problem that I'll mention, the one problem I have with that is, these are lions we're talking about in real life. I I don't think there's been any scientific research, and I don't think there ever will be, and it doesn't make any sense for an animal like a lion or a jaguar or cheetah to know the difference between, like, they know the difference obviously between male and female, but I don't think they could be like, oh yeah, I'm gay. Like, I don't know.
Do you speak lion,
Let's,
John? Do you speak lion?
I don't speak lion, but I'm saying let's play the part of what it is. Like,
Yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter, but I never thought or perceived Scar to be gay and to other lions. But when I read like 2 articles back to back about it, I was like, okay, I didn't know
uh,
this. Bombshell.
that's definitely a first for me and a bombshell. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. I did not know that. But again, there's a lot of, I guess you could say, characters that I didn't realize were supposed to be portrayed or are supposed to be gay, and they, like, I didn't know Dumbledore in Harry Potter.
Well, I
Like,
don't think anybody really knew until you start digging in the backstory of him and Grindelwald and whatnot. So
yeah, so I guess stuff like that is just, either way, it doesn't matter to me. It makes a good story and it explains it. I'm good with it. It's not a big deal. But yeah, no, I didn't know that. So
yeah. Either way, Jeremy Irons, I miss you, buddy. I wish you were in Scar, or I wish you were the new Scar, like you were the old Scar. If you want to talk about it, hit us up at the roll 2 at Gmail. Star Wars Podcast. Yeah, we're here.
thanks a lot.
Wouldn't it be awesome if we had Jeremy Irons on the show and he's just like, yeah, I didn't want to do Scar, but I'd rather be a dark side user. Oh my god, how awesome would that be?
That would be pretty cool. Jeremy Irons, I now agree with David. Reach out to us if you want to be on the podcast. We'll make it happen. So yeah, anyway, Thrawn, excited, good book. Can't wait to be done with it and talk about it.
Speaking of Thrawn.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you before we started this, you told me some news. What's the news?
Look at that. San Diego Comic-Con cover edition of Thrawn Treason. It looks so pretty.
I like the
so
red
pretty.
treason.
Yeah.
On the spine of the book.
So, this is your copy, Johnny. Mine's already on my shelf. Your copy here. I will go ahead and take excellent care of it in your absence. But
thank you.
Not only did you get the book, you got a pin. Let me see if I can get it there without it glaring too much. Of the Chimera, which is the underside of his Super Star Destroyer. Or not Super Star Destroyer, just his Star Destroyer. So, pretty cool.
Nice. And I think we should get I don't remember if we talked about this update or not, but did you finish Thrawn Treason?
I did. I loved it. I want to give it another listen, and not because I didn't like it, but I just want to get another playthrough. I want to make sure I hit on all the details but loved it. Still leaves you wanting more. But again, I think the whole thing with Timothy Zahn writing this series of books, because again, they've already said it's not an official trilogy. It's just the third installment of Thrawn's story. Um, they're setting up for something bigger, man. They're setting up for something bigger, whether that's the next series, the next adventure we go on in live action or animated. I don't know, but they're putting a lot of pieces on the board, getting ready for something big.
I was just going to ask that question and be like, hey, so do they leave it open? Is there more, like, could he write another book? But you answered the question. So.
Well, hell, Timothy Zahn answered the question. This was months ago before Treason even officially hit shelves. He said, hey, this isn't a trilogy. This is just Thrawn's story. There's more stories that he can write. When will they announce it? Probably not for a while, but I dug Thrawn Treason. Want to listen to it again. It'll give you plenty of time to catch up.
So speaking of that, since we're talking about Thrawn, how long are you going to be able to go now that you've read or you listened to Thrawn Treason to not have any more Thrawn? Are you going to be okay? Not like, okay, we know there's not another book. There was no anticipation of another book. Maybe if it's under a different name, or we may get him somewhere else. But as of right now, after Thrawn Treason, to my knowledge, there's no other confirmed mentions of Thrawn being in TV series, live action, cartoon, or anything else. So
there's so much love for the character of Thrawn because, again, due to the Heir to the Empire trilogy that came out right after, Return of the Jedi, that was what kept Star Wars going. In the time frame where there was no prequels, the expanded universe wasn't what it is or was for 40 years. It kicked off this group of books, this extended reading and source material that George Lucas went ahead and blessed and said, okay, run with it, Timothy Zahn. And of course, Timothy Zahn made Thrawn, he made Mara Jade, a few other great characters, and ran with it. So everybody's really got a deep connection with Thrawn because he helped keep Star Wars going. In the canon, the new canon, he's doing an excellent job, Timothy Zahn, of making Thrawn not a focal point of Star Wars, but he's a very interesting character that we still want to know more about. So I think there's going to be more Thrawn books.
So just as we were sitting there talking, I started thinking, I was like, man, I really wish I want to watch Star Wars Rebels now, just to see the character and see him in action, the way he thinks, the way that he looks when he's devising a strategic plan. And I was like, man, I don't have these on Blu-ray. And then I realized that I do have them on Blu-ray.
What's
so
that?
I may have to partake.
Oh yeah.
Star Wars Rebels. But yeah, so that's why I was curious. Like I said, the first Thrawn, I'm really enjoying it, and the biggest thing, and I know we're going to talk about this once I finish it, that I've kind of taken away from it is Eli Vanto. He's your boy. You're glad that he was back in the third one. For me, to see the progression of when we first met Eli Vanto to where I am now, which is I don't want to click on it because it'll start reading it. I think it's I'm in chapter 8 or something. To see him progress and start thinking through and identifying strategic actions by other people that he interacts with, but also being able to adequately and concisely explain how Thrawn made it through a decision and why he did what he did. Absolutely amazing. For a character development, which I know is a big deal for you.
Yeah.
Character development in a novel, Eli Vanto right now takes the cake.
You hit on all the beats that I think everybody really, really appreciated about the character Eli Vanto, because you have this guy, or this Chiss, in Mithran Naruto, as being always one step ahead of the game, always being able to foresee, always being able to think through things, and seeing him take Eli Vanto, who's this raw putty of not thinking that way and being able to shape and mold him into thinking differently. That's an amazing thing to do. To teach somebody a way of doing something and to open their eyes. And much like Eli Vanto, I just made a new character, Elo.
I was like, who's Elo?
Much like Vanto, as a reader, especially if you're not knowledgeable on Thrawn as a character, and this is your first real exposure to him, you're learning like Vanto. You're like, oh, okay, I see how he's doing this. Okay, and you're learning, you're gaining that mental thought process very similar to Vanto. So by the time you're reading something at the end of the book, you're already trying to circumvent it and find the Thrawn holes or the plot points to it. So I just think that's pretty cool.
And the things that he picks up on, the way that somebody looks when you make a certain comment, the way that they shift their feet, or they grab their weapon, or they shift their eyes, or the where they look. Like I'm like, wow. Or really as quickly, and I got through a part where Thrawn was cleared from his court-martial, and I'm not going to get into details, but somebody came up and offered Eli Vanto a job, and he quickly, as he's talking, immediately starts like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. This doesn't make any sense by what she's saying. She's making it seem like it's the world I'm getting, but in reality, how is this all going to play out? And then like thinks through it, and I'm like, and so I'm sitting there, I'm being honest, I was brushing my teeth, and as I'm listening to him, like, wait a minute, blah, blah, and I'm like, my eyes start getting wider as I'm brushing my teeth. It's like, oh, he figured it out. He knows what's happening. So it was just super funny to kind of grow, as you said, with that character and understand, hey, he understands Thrawn's perspective. And he, but a part of me, and I feel like this sometimes in real life when it comes to work, is he, Eli, in my opinion, is sacrificing a lot. He had a very specific path in the Imperial Navy and what he was going to do, what his highest rank would be, where he would go, and his assignments. Like, very defined path until Thrawn came in and that derailed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see that derailment and you feel kind of bad for Eli because that's all he wants to do. That's what his ambition is. That's what his goals are. Then you got Thrawn here who's like, no, I see something more better in you. And I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to give you the compliments, but I'm slowly going to string you along, and I'm going to let you realize the reason that I took you along was for a purpose. And I'm going to slowly let you realize that you're learning from me, which is going to make you better off than any promotion or any advancement that you could ever receive. And that for me, I was like he didn't get promoted after the court martial. But if Eli saw what the reader saw or heard or pictured in their mind, Eli would realize that, dude, you're way better off being with Thrawn because you're there's a greater plan.
Yeah.
As I always get told, even in the real world, timing is everything. Eli, your time will come.
You have no idea about Eli's timing. Just wait, it gets better, but it hits to that old saying, knowledge is power. Yeah. Plain and simple. A lot of people are griping about in Thrawn Treason that Thrawn almost seems too knowledgeable, too powerful, that he sees everything, and it's almost unrealistic. But even in that book, you have other characters, and again, this is not really a spoiler because this happens all the time with Thrawn, regardless if it's Legends or now canon. You have other characters that are around him. Are like, how is he doing this? This doesn't seem right. How is he that knowledgeable? He can't be this good. But he continues to amaze, and that goes straight from that quote that you got out of Timothy Zahn saying, given all the information, Thrawn will not be defeated. He will not falter because he's that methodical. He's that strategic. He's that much of a forward thinker that he's not going to let himself fall into a trap. And that's beautiful. But yes, at the same time, it can get mundane very quickly if the surrounding characters aren't supporting the bigger picture. And I'm not going to get into it too more because I don't want to ruin Treason for you or anybody else out there. All I can say is read Treason. If you want to listen to it, hit up our Facebook page. We got a link that you can get 2 free audiobooks. Johnny, hit them with the rest of the info, man.
And a 30-day free trial. Just click on the link. It takes you directly to our page. You sign up with an email that's not already on an existing Audible account. 30-day free trial. Cancel at any time. And 2 free audiobooks. It can be Thrawn. It can be another book, or it can be any other book that you want to choose. But it is on the top of our Facebook page.
Sorry, I was just randomly showing off the rest of the books behind me.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I don't know. I was trying to Vanna White it, but it wasn't at the right angle. Any news going on right now, Johnny?
So not really anything. And you and I talked about this and asked about news, but something, I guess this is news, but I guess this was something that was very different and interesting to me. So we all know that, director Kevin Smith, is friends with JJ. You know, he's been to the set of episode 9 before. It's been a couple of months, not just a couple of months. It's been a while, but he went to the set of episode 9 and, came out and said, you know, JJ's doing the Lord's work.
Yeah,
like he's doing a
God's
great
work or
job.
something, yeah.
You guys are going to be impressed. Like, just trust in the man. You're going to get it.
That, and I think one of the quotes he also said is the level of how huge the sets are and the things that he's directing and how many moving parts. Like I remember Kevin Smith saying it was ridiculous that JJ's almost running like a little planet or his own country because there's so much going on.
Yeah, and so he went back and, you know, JJ obviously gave him a tour around and went from there. And apparently the final scene was in a room. And JJ said, when you need to see this, and you're going to be blown away when you see it, but you need to see this when you see it. But I would highly recommend, this is something you need to see in the theater. Sitting down in a theater, because it'll melt your mind.
So, what do you think it could be? What do you think it is?
I don't know, but what I'm thinking through in my head is what could possibly melt my mind. Because not only did JJ tell Kevin this, several other crew members and cast members said the same thing. Dude, I wish I would not have seen it. I wish I would have waited, because it will literally melt your mind. So in my mind, I'm not thinking about what the scene is. I guess I kind of am, but I'm thinking of what could be so amazing that it melts my mind. What would I consider what would I consider melting my mind? Does it just mean that I'm like, I don't know. Oh, I can't believe I just saw what I saw, but that's like speechless. So melting my mind, is it just like melting your heart is like, oh, something super cute, something so sweet that somebody did, and stop. Something cute. Like super cute, or something so sweet that somebody did for you, or just like the love and affection of another individual. I could see that, like that's melting your heart, but I'm like, to melt my mind, which in my opinion is way higher than blowing someone's mind.
Okay, given the opportunity, let's say you're right there. Let's say JJ's not talking to Kevin Smith. JJ's talking to you, John Boy, the real JP3. He says, John, you can go through that door if you want. That is the last and final scene of episode 9, concluding the Skywalker trilogy, saga. Are you going to take the door? Are you going to walk in it? Are you going to look?
I would not take the door, and here's why. So first of all, something that is described as melting your mind, and as amazing as this, and as much as we are talking about episode 9, and everybody else has talked about episode 9, the over 40 years of movies, the wrap up of a 9-movie saga. I have a Star Wars podcast. I would not be able to not say something. was something that amazing. And I, for my own sanity and the death threats that I wish to not receive,
No, you wouldn't
I,
get death threats. You would get put in Disney jail.
I couldn't do it. I absolutely could not go back there and then not, and walk around till December, mind you, people, and not, like, how does JJ do it? How does JJ walk around in his normal life? Hey kids, how are you? Hi, honey. Like, I just, that I get the money. Oh yeah, it's the money. But, and his wife's probably like, I don't want no crap. That money, that paycheck, keep it coming. But I could not go in there and not say something to somebody. Like you'd have to write me a check too. You'd write me a check and not say anything. But that is, I would not take the opportunity. I absolutely would not.
As much as I would want to look behind that door, I wouldn't. And the only reason, and you kind of alluded to it and you kind of hit on it, is I would want to immediately talk in detail with someone and be like, hey, did you see this? What does this mean? Oh my God, that's what you thought that meant. This is what I thought it meant. Oh my God, it probably means both of these things. I didn't think about that. Like, again, it gets conversation going. It gets the blood flow to the brain, and you start thinking like Thrawn Mioto. I can't even say his name right now. I'm just so excited about what it could be.
Me, Thrawn,
Nerodo.
Nerodo. Yeah, I was gonna say Eurodo.
Like, I'd want to talk about it, and I know. Hopefully, we get to see Rise of Skywalker, same city, sitting side by side. We haven't gone over the logistics of it yet, but hopefully that's what happens. Because we've seen...
I'm off of work.
Perfect. Because we've seen all of the new Disney Star Wars movies together, you and I, John. At least the first run-through. What that conversation is going to be like afterwards. Because I know I'm going to want to have some adult beverages already cooled, chilled at the casa. Come back. Let's pop a few. Let's light a fire on the fire pit. And let's talk about this until the break of dawn. And while we're talking about it, let's also get tickets to go see it. Again, the first showing in the morning. And talk about it all over again.
So I feel like I would have to like have pads on my arm. When David gets, he doesn't do it all the time, but when David gets super excited, he starts hitting. And he doesn't do it like in a like he's not trying to be mean or anything about it. It's just Dave just starts hitting you like.
So is it closed fist hitting or is it like hands, like slapping?
It depends. It depends on the level of excitement for yourself. Sometimes like it depends. So I've seen him with other people like do open fists. I've seen him with me where he starts punching me like, oh my God, and it's like rapid. It's like, John. And like he's like, I can't believe it, and then you don't want to say anything because you don't want to spoil the movie for anybody else. You don't want to talk during the movie. Dave has a bad habit of being on his phone during movies. I threw it out there, and
in theaters.
In theaters, he has a bad habit. Get the hell out of
here! When the hell have I been on? The only time I was doing that is during Captain Marvel, and I was trying to stay awake.
He has a bad habit, but anyway, during the Star Wars movies, you'd be surprised. Like, I think he cuts the world off. Like, no one better text him. Like, I don't think he, like, we got Apple Watches. So he probably won't even take his Apple Watch because he doesn't want it to vibrate. He doesn't want to know what's going on in the world. But yeah, so I'm just saying Dave gets super excited. And then as soon as like you get out, he's very quiet as he walks through the crowd of people. Doesn't say anything. As soon as the door shuts on the car, he's like, oh my God. And he just
explodes,
unloads because he doesn't want to talk about it in front of other people because it's wrong. Why would a fan want to spoil something for somebody that hasn't seen it?
Yep.
It's even hard we go the weekend after and see it several more times. We still got to be quiet and not say anything. Not to mention, we usually end up taking Dave's mom, and we can't say anything to her. And it feels weird that we can't say anything, but then we just want to talk about it. And every single time we go, we see something different. Every single time.
Because I think we saw Last Jedi 4 times.
I think it was 4. Force Awakens was 4 or 5.
Yeah, Force Awakens was quite a bit. I think the one we saw the least was probably Rogue One.
Yeah, Solo. I think we saw twice.
I think I went one extra time. I saw it 3 times.
Yeah. Oh no, so did I.
Yeah.
I saw it one extra time too. So I think we both saw it 3 times, but one of those times was not with each other. But yeah, so it's a pretty exciting time and it's really awesome. So I had something. Oh, so melt your mind, Dave. I just thought about this when we were talking about it. Crying or not crying?
I don't know. My mind's never fully melted. If there's one man that can do it, it would be. No, I think the only people that were able to melt my mind, Spielberg, Lucas, and JJ. I think those are the only ones that have that capacity. Ridley Scott's pretty close, but he's not quite there.
So when you hear melt your mind, what is your definition? What are you thinking of?
I don't know, John. I have no idea what this ending's going to be. I don't know how the saga's going to end. I don't know if it's going to be on a happy note, a sad note, something in between. Balance. I don't know.
So is there any other movie, in your opinion, and you have a lot of movies that you like, that has ever melted your mind? Blown your mind, yes. I know there's several of those, but melted your mind.
The only movie I can think that comes close to that melting the mind definition is a movie either people love or hate. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Just because that movie's got so many layers, and like you watch it again, you see something different. You watch it again, you see something different. You watch it again, something different. That is the one movie I can think that comes the closest to have melted my mind. Why are you roaring at me?
So I've only seen that movie once, and I could completely agree. I've tried to watch it several times, and it never works when I want to watch it.
I think it's on like Hulu right now or Netflix.
Yeah. So I would agree. That movie is, yeah, that's a really good movie. I'm speechless on that one. That is a really, really good movie.
But when it comes down to it, I have no idea what the scene is. I can't speculate. Everyone's thinking it's something we know. It's Endor. It's, they're on Yavin. It's the throne room. They're thinking it's something that we know, that we're familiar with. I hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's a new area, something that we're not familiar with, but it is the characters in that room that make up that final scene of what it is. Again, I have no idea what it is. I'm not even going to speculate, but I'm eagerly awaiting December. Eagerly awaiting.
Yeah, so you bring that up, and there's a lot of speculation, but there was an article about Newsweek that kind of ties into episode 9. So, according to Making Star Wars, which is a similar parts of the Rise of Skywalker plot from leaks attributed to multiple anonymous sources, episode 9 won't feature another cumbersome spaceship. So we won't have the Death Star. We won't have Starkiller Base. They're not going to do anything. Granted, these are all rumors, guys. This is not confirmed. They're saying from anonymous sources and several of them, but it will have Death Star technology though. We will not see the cumbersome planet spaceship that we have seen in The Force Awakens. We also saw it in The Rise. No, we did not. It was destroyed. My bad. You saw it in, obviously, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? A New Hope. You saw it in Empire Strikes Back. You saw it in the Battle of Endor. In The Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, you never saw it in Empire.
Yeah. So that's kind of crazy that's kind of been what has built a lot of Star Wars movies, but it seems like now and I think you and I talked about this, about are we going to get another large planet-sized ship that essentially destroys life as we know it in certain areas? I'm kind of happy about this. If this is a true rumor, I'm kind of happy about the fact that it's not planet size. We're going to use the technology from the Death Star, which I think is really cool. Paying homage is not the right word. Homage to the things that have come, the movies that have come before it. But I'm kind of happy that we're not going to have it. You're going to have like You have a fleet. They said there's a fleet that's hiding in the unknown regions. Uh,
Whoa. Just stop right there. I don't want to be spoiled. I want to go in fresh.
yeah,
I want to go in fresh.
yeah. So
Fresh.
we'll see what happens. Oh, Thrawn's fleet. That's all I'm saying. No. Uh, there's a lot of other things. They mentioned the Sith Trooper, and I skimmed the article, and there may be a variation of a Sith Trooper that we have
La 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 la
heard
la
about.
la 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 la.
So
Listening.
we'll see about that. We'll need to make sure we put something about maybe spoilers and
Yeah,
non-confirmed
yeah,
spoilers in
because
the
you just start
notes.
randomly talking, and spilling beans, giving out pearls, John.
I don't think that's pearls.
Could be pearls. You
A
don't know.
fleet in the unknown region. Okay, yeah, there's always fleets in the unknown region. Thrawn's been talking about it for how many years?
How do you know? You've only read one Thrawn book.
Yeah, but you tell me that. You've told me it's been years, so I just
Fair enough.
assume you're
Okay, fair
correct.
enough. Speaking of JJ, you know what? No. The only way I would have been okay with a planet killer, like we had before with Starkiller Base, the Death Stars, is if Starkiller Base would have survived the Force Awakens.
Okay.
Would have survived Force Awakens, survived the Last Jedi, and then they destroy it. And it's been looming ever since Episode 7. It's been blowing shit up here, blowing shit up there. The rebellion's on their last leg. They're crippled. They're mentally defeated. There's just a ragtag group of people that are left. It's all militia, nobody trained. It's like the damn movie The Patriot all over again, but in space. It's a space patriot. And Poe is leading the rebellion. That's the only way that would have been cool if there was the planet killer in the Rise of Skywalker. Is if it would have continued to terrorize the galaxy. For, again, Episode 7, Episode 8, and then finally gets destroyed in 9. That's the only way I would have been happy with it.
I think it's. Some people are going to probably be upset about the fact that it is a true rumor that there's not going to be anything else, or there's not going to be a planet. I can a planet killer, but for me, I'm good without it. So I don't know. We're gonna see. As we get closer to December, it's just like, wow, like we're almost in August already. It's just like we have, what is it, 4 months? August is 8. August,
Yep.
September, October, November. Yeah, like 4 months. Till we get to see this amazing movie and conclusion to this saga. And then we just have to wait to see what's next.
Ooh, can't even imagine. But I did see The Force Awakens recently. Yesterday, in fact. John, I had the biggest, goofiest grin on my face the majority of the movie. I'm
You usually
smiling.
do.
I love that movie. That movie is so damn nostalgic. It's ridiculous. The Chewie We're Home. When we saw that trailer drop in 2015, Anaheim celebration, grown men crying. Me,
That
misty-eyed.
that's a good example of when David hits you, by the way.
That, and I know for sure when Kylo was beating his chest.
Yeah.
Due to
He
pain.
hit me then too.
Yeah, I know. That right there. Nostalgic. The whole time where, Han's on screen, talking with Leia, and immediately she starts giving him back talk like, don't act like you know how to do this, Han, or, don't give me that. And he doesn't even say anything. But it just establishes and reaffirms that relationship that they've had, that back and forth, that they know each other like the back of their hand. And it almost lends something to you as the viewer that you know them like the back of your hand. You know their give and take. You know Han's attitude. You know Leia stopping at being headstrong, a smart, independent woman, not taking Han's crap. And Han right away like, hey, it wasn't me. This jacket is new. It's not the old one. Like, I love that. That's those small little things that JJ did, whether he realized it or not. I think that made The Force Awakens for me. Those small little things. When he walks in the Falcon and he's in the cockpit alone and he just puts his hand on the chairs and like looks around for a brief little second. I love it. I'm grinning ear to ear that entire time.
Yeah, so and you got to think. So you love it. You are a younger generation, but still you're getting up there in age. And so think about the people that actually like were there in 1977 and can remember and literally grew up with these characters in this story. Like, come on. Like, what can they think? Like, that is what you see for The Force Awakens. What do you think they see? And they probably see something very similar, but how much more it means to them. They've been there to
Yeah.
watch this story unfold year after year, decade after decade.
They were
Like,
there in the theaters in '77. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole other ball game. Um, so I'm wondering, will we see nostalgia in Rise of Skywalker, or is it going to be just straight to the hitting the pavement and hitting it hard and telling the story, diving in, catching us up, and closing the chapter?
I don't think, I think JJ understands how important his role is in making sure that this movie is a great ending to this. So I think you're still going to get all the same stuff that you got in The Force Awakens. And I guarantee you that he will not make the same mistake he did with Leia and Chewie that he made in The Force Awakens, because he acknowledges that it was a true mistake and a mishap on his part. So I guarantee you that he laid awake every night thinking, did I miss something like that? And if I did, I need to fix it because we cannot have that again.
Yeah.
For somebody to create a work of art like JJ did for The Force Awakens and then go back to acknowledge, like, I screwed that up. I made a mistake. I am sorry. Like, that's pretty awesome because out of everything else, I know it's a big deal for you, but out of everything else, The Force Awakens truly was a great movie. And he did so many great things, but that one thing is what resonates with a lot of people. Resonated with you, and it probably resonated with a lot of other people that have been there since the beginning and know that connection that Han and Chewie had and that Leia was there.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think we are already at the last film in this trilogy, John. I remember when it was first announced in 2014 that Disney had bought Lucasfilms. It sounded like forever for the first movie, for 7 to come out. It just felt like forever for 8 to come out, and 9, and now we're on the last leg of the race, man. We're about to finish out the sequel trilogy.
So I will tell you, I did not remember. I wasn't paying really any attention to the fact that Disney bought Lucas at all, or the fact that there was a new movie coming out, or that there was a Star Wars celebration thing. And so this goes back to the whole Eli Banto conversation earlier. You grow and you evolve and you learn and you realize, what were you thinking? And now you have a Star Wars podcast that you do twice a week with some other guy who thinks he's a Sith Lord and all those other good things. And you talk about Star Wars, and I never thought that I would get excited over the things that I get excited over when it comes to Star Wars. And so just the news, the announcements, watching those shows, watching the Clone Wars and catching back up with all that is, you know, and then being able to talk about it with somebody who also gets it and understands it. And he's, he's an okay friend too. What can I say?
Whatevs. Hey, he drives through vortexes. Okay, on your birthday, it's all right. That was my light.
we're not getting into that story.
I'm just saying. Who knows? We could have been going through light speed, and you could have just been, yeah.
12 parsecs.
Exactly. It's neither here nor there, but crazy. The saga is going to be completed. JJ started it. He's bookending it. The sequel trilogy, anyway. I'm terribly excited to see what happens. In JJ we trust 100%. I'm just eagerly awaiting episode 9.
Oh, I agree. 100%. Cannot wait. Count down the days. I saw somebody post like 140 something days left. Around there. So, guys, it's coming. And once we get here, we're going to be like standing outside the theater. The greatest thing in the world, movie theaters, that you could have ever done is have assigned seating. All I'm going to say.
Take some of the fun out of it.
waiting in lines
Take
and
the
everything.
fun
But
out of it.
it may take the fun out of it, but for those people that, I complained about the fact that we weren't allowed to spend the night for early morning panels to get in there. Like, I complained about that, but I'm like, movie theaters, thank you so much. For somebody that's probably going to have to drive to go to the movie theater to see this, I can't wait in line all day, all that other good stuff. I'm happy with it. I'll be the one to say it.
Fair enough.
So,
John,
but
anything else
what
you
you
want
got?
to talk about?
So, nothing about episode 9 or Thrawn, but I do want to say, if you're interested and you're looking at lightsabers, our buddies and friends over at Ultra Sabers can help you out. Go to their website, www.ultrasabers.com. Pick your lightsaber, whatever you want. And when you go to checkout, in the coupon section, type Force Feels, all one word, all caps, and you will get a 10% discount from the Rule of Two of Star Wars Podcasts. We appreciate it. It does not work on any currently clearance or discounted sabers. It does not work on any accessories for the lightsaber, but the lightsaber itself will get 10% off. And then post pictures of it, videos of it, whatever you want. Tag us in our social media at the Rule of Two Pod, and we'll talk about it on the show. I don't think we've figured out yet how to bring up movies and pictures. Pictures, yes, but movies where we can probably flash them across the screen, since we are on the tube of view now, as David calls it. But yeah, go check them out at Ultra Sabers and let us know. Also, go check out our T Public Patreon, and just reach out to us on social media. We love to hear from you guys. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Thank you for tuning in today. We are The Rule of Two, a Star Wars podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Rule of Two Pod. Check us out on our website at www.theruleoftwopodcast.com, or send us an email via contact@theruleoftwopodcast.com. Check us out on Patreon and TeePublic for exclusive deals and merchandise. And we are in no way affiliated with Disney, Lucasfilms, or the Collider Podcast Rule of Two. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Fulfill your destiny. Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy.